Welcome back to the desk of WCS America and to what is about to be game number 1 between Sin and Czech, the Taiwanese Zerg, up against the Korean Zerg, ZVZ, to kick off our final day of Challenger play. That's right, guys. Tomorrow we'll be drawing the Premier League group, so you're going to want to be sure to tune into that. Starts at 3 p.m. Pacific, basically right now, and we'll be looking and finding out what's going to happen with the Premier League. But for now, let's go ahead and hop into our first match. It's going to be Sin versus Czech.
Sorry, I was actually doing a little research right there, right beforehand. That's why I was typing down Spider. Not Spider. Czech is actually Spider Czech, as you guys can see in the top. He is, in fact, Taiwanese. So.
Oh. Yep. So it is misrepresented on Wikipedia.
It is.
Shameful.
But it's okay. It's Taiwan versus Taiwan. And Sen, of course, considered the favorite, I would say, because he is the mammoth over there.
Oh, this is Sin, the red Zerg, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frost. Frost has kind of become the go-to starter map of the Challenger games thus far. And his opponent in the top right, also Taiwanese. He is Spider Czech.
That's right, Ben. ZVZ on Frost LE. We've seen this time and time again. We're normally used to having 15 hatches. The reason for that? The ramp is pretty close to the expansion. You also got the ramp pretty close to the creep as well, so you're able to safely get your 15 hatch out. That does lead us to have these weird 10-10-10s, because 10-10-10s are so alarming. Not a lot of people really expect that, but I would say those are the two most common builds: 15 hatch, 10-10-10.
And we are going to be seeing a 15 hatch from Czech. We're going to be seeing a 15 pool from Sin, perhaps not wanting to fall victim to
the 10-10-10.
The very common 10-10-10. If Czech is Taiwanese, he's definitely going to be familiar with Sin, and I've got to say, for a Taiwanese StarCraft player, this is probably one of the more intimidating matchups you could ever find yourself facing. Sin, long considered to be the absolute top dog, best StarCraft player in Taiwan, and has been considered to be on par with some of the world's best Koreans, basically forever.
I played Sin many times. Actually, there was a time where I used to play him a lot in StarCraft Brood War, and he was the type of player that could do anything in StarCraft Brood War and win the game. Like, he would just mass up Mutalisk the whole game, and then transition into like 24 Guardians, which was like 24 Broodlords in StarCraft Brood War. He just is insane with his multitasking, with his macro, with his micro, and he has such clean execution with everything all around that he really is a versatile player.
He's a monster, and we've seen his flexibility and his skills tested and proven to be top-notch time and time again. One of my all-time favorite Sin stories is when he came here for the Sunday Showdown to play against Todd. Sin flies to Rancho Cucamonga from Taiwan. He spends most of his time napping, and I'm serious when I say this. He would put 2 office chairs together, put his feet in one and his butt in the other, and just nap all day long for like the whole week that he was here. And meanwhile, Todd would be sitting next to him, and he would be laddering furiously, trying to prepare as much as he could for the upcoming match.
And we were like, Sen, do you want to practice? You can have our computer.
He's like, no, just take a nap.
And I think he played 1 game. He's like, still got it. And then he just stopped.
And
thought he was gonna keep playing.
When Sin and Todd eventually played, it was an incredibly one-sided match. I think Sin won 4-0 or 4-1.
Yeah, I think 4-1.
And Todd was very sad about this. As we see Spider Czech getting a Zergling into the main base of Sin. Sin deals with all of that with no real issue.
Just to talk about styles really quickly, we saw the 15 hatch into no gas. It's still 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Sometimes we'll see a double gas at 5 minutes. Still, that hasn't happened, so we're really looking at the 6-minute mark, trying to drone up as much as possible. But you can do this type of style on this map in particular because of the ramp that we were talking about before. It enables you to just use queens, and you can even block off with an evolution chamber or 3 evolution chambers if you need to. These type of things really enable you to power your economy. That makes it very scary for tech transitions going into the mid-game stage. Sen already starting with a lair, but with Zerg, it doesn't really matter a lot of times if both of you are going for mutas. it doesn't matter if your Spire comes up a little bit faster, because if I've been mining more gas, I can instantly get 12 mutas, and you only have 8.
These guys have access to the same amount of gas. They're taking their gases at approximately the same times, but we are seeing a deviation here. Czech is going to be playing a Roach-based style. There's that double Evo chamber and the Roach Warren going down. Sin is, in fact, going up to Mutalisks. We know that because, well, this little patrolling drone tells us that he wants to build something that he can only build when his layer's done. And that is, of course, going to be the Spire.
Identical workers for the most part. They're starting to deviate a little bit now, but 48 to 45. It was 44 to 44 for quite a long time. And now third bases will be taken. Now, if I had to give a build order of advantage so far, I'd give it a very slight one to Spider Czech. And that's just because of his opening. It just is a lot cleaner. It focuses on getting your resources out first before any of your tech structures, and then boom, you have all your gases at the same time. But Sen is Sen, and he's taking a much more aggressive route to things. He's getting Zerglings out. He's behind in drones, but he can do this macro-micro pretty seamlessly.
Very nicely managing to cancel the building third hatchery of Czech. That means that Czech's going to be a little bit slower to get that third base economy rolling than Sin will. And frankly, with the Spire finishing up soon for Sin, he's going to have a lot of map control for a very, very long time. And this is cute from Sin, just trying to pick off some of these active creep tumors, denying what vision he can.
Yeah, really cool stuff. Also, he was able to see the double evolution chambers and the Roach Warren in the front there, so it gives him indicators. Czech is probably going for roaches. There is some crazy build where you actually switch into mutas after this. It's so inefficient, though. You're not beating a lot, but it is there. I'll just say that.
Sin once again.
Wow, no cancel.
Killing a hatchery, slowing Czech down even more. Drone gets a transfuse. You don't see that often. As the first mutas are about to pop out here for Sin. Now Czech is scouted probably, well, not the Spire actually, but he's about to see these mutas.
But see the build Sen's doing? It's something similar where he's showing the Roach Warren, showing the evolution chamber, but boom, mutas are popping out. He's surprising Czech. Czech right now is going to have to scramble. He's behind in pushing out, because if you want to punish mutas, it has to be way before they come or somewhere where they're out of position. But when they're out of position, cross-position Frost, you have so much time to just chug away at those roaches with your Mutalisks.
Now Sin is already beginning his own roach transitions. We see roach speed on the way, roach upgrades on the way, and lots of roaches on the production tab. So this is nice from Sin. He's going to use these initial Mutalisks to thin out the roach count to make sure that he has an absolute lock on map control. And meanwhile, is going to be powering roaches back at home, and this is setting up for a very, very powerful game-ending roach push, probably with +1 and roach speed.
That's right. I mean, he's just going to max out as fast as possible, knowing that he will have the harass advantage, knowing that he's going to be causing indirect damage with those spore crawlers, extra queens, and then from there, he's just going to drone up unabated and even catch a couple of roaches here. I mean, that's what the mutas do. They really give him so much room to be cost efficient.
Sin has just transitioned so seamlessly. Very nice, clean game one here out of Sin. Czech's in a lot of trouble. Supplies only showing us that it's that there's only a 20 supply difference, but I mean, Sin is up now to 26 roaches against just 12. This is going to be a very one-sided fight if Sin can force it to happen.
And Sen going into his patented Zerglings directly after that, most likely for Roach Baneling. He really likes that style in his EVZs, but now the engagement has started. Trying to pick off that Spore Crawl in the beginning.
That Spore's actually absorbing a lot of damage. That's really nicely done there from Czech, hitting those transfusions, but the problem is not transfuse energy, it's the overwhelming number of roaches that Sin is going to have. Czech mustering a pretty good defense here, but with mutas overhead and the roach numbers not being where they need to be, Sin is going to do a ton of damage with this attack.
That's right. Reinforcements are coming in as well, Zerglings, but they still work out pretty nicely. Helps out with the roaches and tanking. Now overwhelming his opponent's roaches. He's getting into the third base. He needs to do some drone damage, but he's still looking fine. It looks like finally Czech is able to kind of muster a defense here, but I feel there's already too much damage that has been done. Yes, he wasn't able to kill the drones, but there's still a large portion of roaches that he was able to take out. The queens died as well, so that will come into effect in about a minute as well.
You know, that was a great defense from Czech. He does ultimately push it back, and he's got his injections still running, so he managed to have extra queens out on the map. And the great thing that Czech has going for him is this, Andre, the double evolution chamber, and he's been keeping up with those upgrades, +2 attack and +2 armor, both about to finish up. Whereas Sin is only about halfway through +1 attack, and he never got a second Evo chamber. So with all things being equal roach count for Sin. Well, he's got a few more roaches than Czech does. Those upgrades should mean that Czech is going to enjoy another advantage when they fight again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is coming in here for a couple drone kills, but that's okay. Czech has been ahead in drones, 54 to 52 right now in favor of Czech still. Looks like he will pick off a couple more roaches trying to come into the natural base. Not really going to work out, and I think Sen realizes now that it's not going to work. Yeah, the +2 Carapace definitely helps out a lot. We're going to just have to see. Now transitioning into Hydralisk, that's a big game changer, of course. Czech, I think he does have the advantage, and I kind of miscalculated a little bit before. Czech is in a much better position.
This could be a bit of a deal breaker. If Sin could pick off that hatchery, looks like he is going to initiate a very large fight, but the numbers appear to be in favor of Czech. Hydra's showing up as well. They're going to add some much-needed extra damage to the army of Czech, and Sin is going to be pushed back yet again. The supplies are still close, 145 to 145, but with upgrades going in favor of Czech, with the army composition looking better for Czech, Sin is suddenly in a very difficult position. He's got his 3-base economy. He's got plenty of production, but Andre, he's going to have to come up with some kind of magic if he wants to be. Oh, and this is going to be it. The banelings that you were talking about. Baneling nest is going to go down, so he's going to try to get up to roach baneling.
Yeah, he's so slow with this, though. He needs the baneling speed to really connect with this. Else, I don't know what he can really do. But this is a pretty small amount of roaches, and the Zerglings can easily just surround the Hydras, but maybe not. Keep in mind that +2 Carapace makes it the Zerglings deal pretty much nothing. Nice concave though, but it looks like the +2 units of Czech are just too much, overwhelming his opponent.
That was a great engagement for Sin, but Czech with his better upgrades and his better army is easily able to keep his attack going. And Sin is going to tap out. Good game. A little bit of an upset already.
I really misread that.
First map.
I really misread that. I thought Sen was way, way ahead. Of course, he had the roach advantage at one point, but it looks like that +1 Carapace and then the +2 Carapace directly after that really came into effect that game. Zerglings did basically nothing. The baneling transition wasn't there. I thought the mutas were really good. Overall, he was able to kill a lot of roaches, get his expansion going really, really seamlessly. But in the end, Czech was too stoic.
There's a couple options you have when you open Muta and you start a transition like that. One is what we saw from Sin, basically all in 3 bases. And he was trying to just overpower and win the game. It did not work out for him. Maybe what would have been better, secure map control, continue to build up on that economy, and then overwhelm your opponent with sheer numbers, not with pressure and multi-pronged aggression. Didn't work out for Sin. As game number 1 goes the way of Czech.
There was like a clock, though, right? Because you have to push before 2-2 finishes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Else, your attack's going to be terrible. You're going to lose map control, and they're going to max out to 200 with 2-2 while you're only at 1-0 or 1-1. So there was a time pressure on Sen, but I don't think he had to go that early. I think he could have maxed out, as you said, a little bit more. But we are getting ready for game number 2. Polar Knight LE is going to be the next one. And Czech already showing a lot of life here. I think a lot of people